Wow, this is one. I can already tell this is gonna be a controversial episode, and I love episodes like this. This will pick out the whiners from the watchers. I love episodes like these. Any form of controversial episode, especially when it comes to anime and video games. I love them because you just pick those people out and just say, "Be off of you. Go on. You don't like it? Don't watch it. Don't play it. Go away. Go back reading your two-dimensional character stories that you're so used to. Go back to reading your shonen, okay? Don't get me wrong, I like shonen, but it's literally like baby's first step into weebhood, for God's sakes. That's what it really is. But enough about that. Let's talk about this episode. And it begins with Rudius in his past, where he's thinking that he's been real crap to his parents. He did the same thing Roxy did with his parents. He think his parents didn't care about him. Roxy thought her parents didn't care about her. But after reading Rocky Get Serious, the parents literally did everything they can to help her live a comfortable life the best way they can, even though they didn't know how. The parents knew what he went through was horrible with Rudius, but he chose to ignore them. He chose not to look through their point of view. He chose not to understand them. Same thing with Roxy. Roxy ran away. Rudius just became a shut-in. So they both took different paths, in a way. Rudius ended up being a scumbag, doing terrible, disgusting things, and died. And Roxy became an adventurer, but felt so alone, being outcast and not fitting in until she found Rudius' family. And she'd been there for 2 or 3 years. And there, she said it was one of the happiest times of her life because she felt accepted even among humans. It was quiet, it was peaceful. She helped out the villagers, and the villagers helped out her by saying hi and giving her food and giving her thanks. Stuff like that. And then this scene happens. They skip some scenes with Roxy talking to Alina Lays about Rudius' condition, what to do, and stuff. Annie says she ain't going to do anything, or her finding out that, that Rudius is married and have a kid on the way. They skip those scenes, but they weren't necessary. What they're trying to do. Rudius is looking back and realizing that he was doing the same thing he did in the past. He, in a way, kind of neglected his parents, in a way, his family. Think about it. How long has Rudius really been with his family? Think about that. The only time he's been really with his family was only for one volume. One volume. And that's the very beginning volume. Other than that, he goes, meets Eris. He goes his little adventure. Eris departs. Rudius departs. And he goes off looking for Zenith, but doesn't do anything. He joins up with a party. Makes a name for himself. Goes to the academy. Reunites with Selphie. Gets married. And then he finally gets to really live with his sisters. So he's never really been with his family. And he kind of neglected it. And he never saw Paul or Zenith as his parents until now. That these people did care about him. They do love him. See, Rudius thought that when Paul says, we have to help Zenith no matter what, Rudius thought that Paul wasn't thinking about him. That he has to do whatever, even sacrificing himself. But Paul cared about Rudius. Paul truly loved Rudius. To Paul, Rudius was his pride and joy, his firstborn son. And it took death for Rudius to find out that. That's how Paul saw Rudius. He saw Rudius as someone who could just do anything. A smart child and stuff. Maybe he got the genes from his family that he was unable to get. And the reason why he decided not to become the heir of his family name. Because originally Paul was supposed to be the actual successor to the Notos Grey Rat family side. He's supposed to be a high-ranking noble. But he stepped down from that, live a simpler life. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is that Rudius realizes his mistake, and he drowned in his sorrows. Really? Anyways, where was I? Oh yes, the thing with Rudius and how he completely ignored all the importance of his family again. And that is because he was just thinking about himself and his own happiness. What he can do to live a life without regret. No matter what you do, you're always going to regret something. The best thing to do is find a way not to do much as possible of it. And that's what he needed to do. And he failed to realize that living the best life does not mean just for yourself, but also for those around you that you care about. That includes his family. You know, he's just now reconnecting with his sisters and even marrying Selfie, but he forgot about his parents in a way. And he did it. He wondering if he went, if he didn't go, would things be better? You know, and he's going through that personality change, like I said before. There are people like this in real life who act just like Rudy is. I mean, their mental way of thinking, where they have good plans, they're good at their job, but the minute something goes wrong, one thing goes wrong, they shut down. They cease to function. I have seen it when I was working at my job before. Someone who used to work at my job, good at their job, very short, but knew what to do, worked well, and knew where they were at. But the minute something goes wrong with their day, they lose it. They shut down. They don't want to do anything. They'll even call out from work. They'll be at the job site. Something goes wrong, and I'm going home for the rest of the day. I'm like, damn, we're almost done. What's wrong? They'll do that. They'll shut down and they'll let it get to them. It may take a while for them to get over it, and I do mean it'll take a while. But they need support. These kind of people. They need someone there for them. They can't function on their own when when this happens to them. They need someone. If they're not, they'll stay that way a long way. And it happens a lot. So Roxy comes along, and we get to see a perspective of pretty much what happens when people cheat. Some cheat because lust or rain or the other side. The person who also, we've seen it before, the person who cheats because they actually love them. They do not look for a one-night stand. They actually love them too. And a lot of people say that's the worst kind of cheating, because when you sleep with someone like a prostitute or a one-night stand, you put the money on the table and you just go away and that's it. But you start feeling something for that person. You know, it's not just sex. You're going on dates with this person. You're telling your inner feelings that you want to tell to your other partner. It leads to bad situations, unfortunately. And that's what's happening here. Now, this is where people, it's the controversy, it's the cheating thing that happened, is where people need to separate cultures. Westerners, we have a certain mindset where you can only have one partner, you can't cheat on no one, or you can't have multiple wives. Even though in the past it was like that. Even in some people in the Bible had multiple wives as well. I'm not for it. That's just not my thing, man. Why do you want to have both wives unless you have the money, unless you have the backing? I guess you can do that. Heck, I know guys out here, they're not married to these women, but they have multiple baby mamas that they're being with, but they have the money to take care of them, and they're okay with it. They're completely okay with it. They can't get married, but they're together. I'm not kidding. That shit's real. And Paul said something before he died about having two swords. Then Alina Lays had said something about the faith. Like, are you a faith of Millis? And stuff. He says, no, faith of Millis is that you're loyal to that person even after they died. You can't marry anybody else. That's just how it is. So I wonder if, since Cliff is half dwarf or something, will he live longer since he's like half of that thing? So I'm curious now how long Cliff will live. I'm curious. Anyways, I'm getting off sidetracked again. But it's just because there's a lot I want to really dive into when it comes to mindset of culture and perspective. And yes, Paul married, not just married Zenith, but also later on married Lilia, their housemaid, and they have two kids. And he says, did Zenith feel miserable when this happened throughout her life? And no, but it was very chaotic at the beginning. Of course it was. But as time went on, things were great by them, you know? So what she's trying to say is that cultures are different, and everyone has a perspective of what they can do. Some people believe you can marry multiple wives, you can have multiple partners, and some people don't. In America, it's hard to say with us because we're constantly changing our mindsets. Here in America, our culture is constantly changing every generation. So there's no foundation where we can go back on and say, this is what you need to do. Unfortunately, because of that, people are lost. But anyway, there's always some things that are set in stone that people will see. Like, oh, Reese is unfaithful. Is he? Sophie did say that she's okay with him having another partner. So she did say that. Remember that. She did say that. And this was before she was pregnant. It was Rudy who decided not to do it, but Sophie said it's okay that you do. And Sophie knows that Rudy, in a way, has Paul in him. So maybe Sophie just knew that was going to happen. So there's that. Now, Rudy's perspective is that he does love Roxy. In a way, he looks up to Roxy, and Roxy supported his ass. As on their way back home and everything, Riz was falling behind, he was depressed, and Roxy was there every moment carrying him. Like, okay, she's taking this on. She's taking it seriously. Like, maybe she wants to earn her spot in the family too. Like, okay. Hell, man, there's tons of isekais out there where guys have multiple wives anyways. For some reason, because this series is so popular, everyone's looking at the series with a magnifying glass, a freaking telescope, and nitpicking at every freaking thing. Like, fine, whatever, man. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. And with that being said, she knows her situation. But this is her only chance. She's never felt these feelings before. But she's conflicted, where she should set her feelings aside and just let Rudy live her life, and she holds her feelings back. But Rudy thinks it's all well, and Rudy's perspective is like, yo, I am just like Paul. Despite what Paul think of Paul, oh God, my words today. Despite what people think of Paul, people enjoy Paul. You know, he is reliable. He is smart when it comes to certain things. And Rudy's is smart when it comes to certain things. He does screw up every now and then. He comes off as kind of weird. And he always saw Paul as a scumbag for wanting to have two wives. But then now he's doing the same thing that his dad did. The same thing. Not as lustful as the dad. The dad's situation was completely different. If you were there for an episode, Lilia was not innocent in that situation. You know it. God damn. But it still happened either way, despite the causes. And with that being said, here we are at this point. Like, maybe he can do what his father... A lot of us, some people will look down on their dads sometimes when they're young. But as they get older, they realize that they start to understand more about what their dads go through and what they were thinking as time goes on. If they go through the same situations, and you wonder, yo, how did you do this? How did you do this? And it's just part of growing up. That's just what it is. So now we see these two. They're on their way home and stuff. And a little thing that Danny mentioned is a little armadillo. Yeah, the armadillo, that's their pet. Yeah, that's their pet. The name, the armadillo, is Jiro, the armadillo. I'm not calling it Dillo, the armadillo. That's just freaking stupid. Okay, I don't know who came up with that stupid name, but it's just plugging Dillo from armadillo. His name is Jiro. It makes more freaking sense that way. I hate these translations, man. It's so stupid. But anyways... Yes, what's going to happen? You know, they're going home, but what is going to freaking happen when they get home? I know what's going to happen. The question is, who's going to throw a fit? Someone's going to throw a fit. I'm not going to say who, but someone's going to throw a fit. Feel a little drama, a little stuff that happens. Be sad, and it's going to get a little chaotic. Hope y'all ready for the last episode of the season, man. Y'all ready? See this conclusion. Oh man, I don't know why. I'm really excited about it. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Macron on Anime. Signing out.